Here in Montreal. Yeah, I was going to say, come on, go. I just want to make people walk by.
Oh,
Slides okay?
slides are okay. Actually, yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
They'll look very familiar.
It's funny, I'm just splitting them into two files because together they're 44 megabytes. We just have an arbitrary limit of 30 megabytes.
Oh.
So I just split them into two files and I just upload them.
I don't know. Them with best quality.
Oh yeah, no, this is fine. They're good. And I'm just going to work on the audio, and the webcam in front of you will pick up your video. Jesus will probably sit in the front row and turn it around. Oh, there. A little netbook, a little Chromebook. And I'm actually following it on the iPad as well. So this is the Puffin web browser. And it can actually send audio and video now. And it runs on iOS and Android.
Still doesn't mean you can't finish the HTML app.
Oh God, no! We're working on the HTML5 app, and even the HTML5 app won't work on this because Apple doesn't allow WebRTC audio and video. But I'll be talking about this in my talk.
Okay, yeah, that's good. It's obviously running in Flash.
Oh, it's pretty cool. It's rendering right on the server, and it's it's the Big Blue Button client. All right, I'm going to finish doing these slides. All right. Test. I'm not getting any of them. I think I have a problem. The audio is actually coming from here, even though we plugged this in, and I think it's.
Maybe
Yeah, it's the Apple connector. So what I'm going to do is I have somebody else who has a laptop that will have this, and then we can use this connector. It worked, but I was hearing it because I'm sitting right in front of it. I can tell when I'm tapping my keyboard, it's coming in.
But we see it.
We see it, but the microphone that's being picked up is this one, not. Or there's microphones here, but I'm not picking them from here.
Because yesterday we don't have music in the room. I just see it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Maybe you can choose the input.
Let's try it. I mean, we can. In fact, I'm going to do something just very simple. I'm going to call in the conference bridge and I'll put my phone on. All right, let's see how this works now.
Et alors, s'il vous plaît, nous allons commencer tout de suite. Alors, je me présente, mon nom est Jean-Pierre Dormais. J'ai été au cours des dernières années de 5 ans de l'étude politique et artistique. J'ai participé aux différents étapes qui ont mené au développement et à l'implantation du Moodle de l'Université de Montréal. Alors, je vais commencer par remercier tous les participants qui se joignent à nous cette semaine pour ce Moodle Moot Canada 2015. Alors, pour vous donner quelques chiffres, nous avons en présence présentielle 247 participants qui sont connectés. Et nous en avons 45 qui participent en ligne à la conférence qui au-delà de nos références supplémentaires. On a des gens qui nous viennent de partout au Canada, des territoires de l'Ouest, de Canada, évidemment, Colombie-Britannique, de Québec. Il y a aussi des gens de l'Espagne, de Suède et des États-Unis qui sont avec nous. Je voudrais commencer en remerciant les commanditaires, les sponsors, des exposants, des visiteurs pour leur participation. C'est eux qui rendent possible la conférence Moodle. Je commence par vous remercier l'Université de Montréal et les facultés techniques. Nous, évidemment, nous avons contribué à l'organisation de cette conférence. Mettons les locaux de l'université à la disposition de la conférence. Nous avons dégagé des bénévoles parmi nos éléments, parmi nos meilleurs éléments. Parce que avec la conférence, ça se prépare de long terme. De l'an et demi qu'on y travaille. Alors, je voulais remercier ces bénévoles je voulais remercier les exposants, les sponsors. Il y en a plusieurs, les sponsors et les exposants sont représentés ici. Alors, vous pouvez vous le dire, si vous le désirez, dans le Lambda Solution Canada, vous avez vu. Open to Know Canada, e-learning experts. On a Land Science Networks parmi les exposants, Lambda Solutions, Land Science Networks, Wireless Math in Science Explorers, Lead Speaker, NDI Solutions, et ici on a le regroupement RDTF. It should like to stand up so we can engage a round of applause to make it possible. Some speaking notes before beginning. On va terminer la conférence à 9h50. The break will be outside Valère about 10:30. So after the conference, you have to go up to the 4th floor for the next sessions. And it will last until 10:30. 10:30 we come down to space at the registration deck just beside Valère. The next sessions will be held until lunch, which will take place after Valère at noon. So, let me introduce our speakers. Je laisse la parole tout d'abord à Mme Lou Philippot, qui est directrice sur l'affaire étudiante aux études, et qui prendra quelques minutes pour sauter la technologie. Mme Philippot est la directrice qui assume, entre autres, le groupe de charge, la responsabilité dans l'environnement numérique responsable à l'université. Elle a assisté à la naissance du projet Moodle dans le comité de direction qui a été formé pour encadrer la naissance du projet Moodle à l'université. Elle a suivi son évolution avec intérêt depuis. I will now ask Dr. Lou Philippot to pronounce a few words of welcome on behalf of the University of Montreal. Dr. Philippot is Vice Rector of Students and Academic Affairs and advanced line of our Moodle initiative since its inception a few years ago.
Merci, Jean-Pierre. Alors, chers collègues, chers participants Moodle Moot, chers connectés, chers commanditaires, chers conférenciers, chers fait grand plaisir de vous accueillir officiellement au nom de l'Université de Montréal à la 5e édition de la conférence Moodle Moot. C'est la première à avoir lieu dans l'Est du pays depuis que cet événement a été lancé en 2017 et on est très heureux de vous recevoir de concert avec nos amis de l'École polytechnique. La communauté Moodle est bien établie au Canada, vous le savez, avec plusieurs centaines de sites enregistrés. On est fiers d'en faire partie et de participer à ces activités, tout comme on se réjouit d'appartenir à la communauté internationale qui s'est ralliée autour de Moodle au fil des ans. Moodle occupe maintenant, Jean-Pierre l'a déjà dit, une place centrale à l'Université de Montréal. Et le déploiement de Moodle nous a permis de moderniser notre environnement numérique d'apprentissage, celui évidemment qu'on met à la disposition de nos étudiants et de nos enseignants. Moodle a certainement contribué à moderniser nos modes d'enseignement et nos façons de faire, que ce soit en classe ou en ligne. Notre Moodle, avec ses différents outils d'enseignement, est présent à l'Université de Montréal sous le nom de Dougiamas. Il est connu de tous ici, ce nom-là, Dougiamas, à l'université. Il est utilisé par la très grande majorité des professeurs aujourd'hui et des étudiants. Il fait partie intégrante de notre communauté universitaire. Et ça, il faut le dire, malgré le fait que ça ne fait pas très longtemps que l'histoire de Moodle se déroule chez nous. C'est juste à la fin de 2010, donc il y a 5 ans, qu'on a fait le choix de Moodle pour remplacer notre ancien environnement numérique d'apprentissage. Pourquoi on a fait ce choix-là? Il y avait plusieurs raisons, et inquiétez-vous pas, je ne vous fais pas une longue liste pendant une heure, ça va prendre juste quelques minutes. D'abord, on a regardé ce qui se faisait ailleurs, entre autres dans des institutions pointues, comme l'École polytechnique et l'UQAM, qu'on remercie d'ailleurs pour nous avoir aidés dans nos choix. Ensuite, on a fait ce choix-là parce que, évidemment, c'est un système open source, il y a une batterie, bonne réputation, qui avait déjà fait ses preuves dans beaucoup d'environnements académiques, dans différentes langues et dans différents pays. Mais aussi, on l'a choisi parce que Moodle se modèle sur les besoins des enseignants et sur l'expérience d'apprentissage des étudiants, et qu'il encourage les professeurs à prendre en main par eux-mêmes l'actualisation de leur enseignement et les méthodes pédagogiques qui leur conviennent le mieux. Au départ, quand on s'est lancé dans cette grande aventure, on a mis sur pied une équipe de quelques personnes qui se consacraient à l'étudiant, à son développement, à son déploiement. Et rapidement, cette équipe-là a connu des succès assez notables. Après seulement une année, Dougiamas était proposé aux enseignants de toute l'Université de Montréal. Et après 3 ans, déjà, les enseignants sont venus de 3 ans. Alors, ce succès, bien sûr, il faut l'attribuer au mérite de l'équipe, que je remercie, j'en profite pour remercier aujourd'hui, et aussi à la plateforme Moodle elle-même. Mais surtout, et je pense que c'est important de le dire ici, ce succès est attribuable aussi à la communauté Moodle, à ce réseau d'experts, d'artisans qui proviennent de partout et à qui on est redevable d'une aide généreuse offerte dans un esprit de partage. On a beaucoup reçu la communauté Moodle et on veut maintenant lui rendre une part de cette contribution-là. C'est pourquoi on est si heureux d'accueillir aujourd'hui cette 5e conférence. It is an honor and a pleasure for the University of Montreal to host the 5th annual conference of Moodle Moot Canada. It is held jointly with l'École polytechnique de Montréal. We are proud to have been active partners in the Canadian Moodle community since 2010. It may only be a few years, but I think that we have been fast learners. Our Moodle, known within our walk under the name Dougiamas, was implemented rapidly and with a fair amount of success. It is due to a large extent to the assistance and the guidance that we received from the local, the national, and the international Moodle community. Sponsoring this conference is one way for us to give back to that community. We are happy to welcome you here on our campus for what will surely prove to be an inspiring and productive conference. Merci beaucoup et bonne journée.
Merci beaucoup. Je vais maintenant laisser la parole à M. Steven Chamberlain, qui est professeur à l'École polytechnique et directeur aux affaires académiques et étudiants. I will now ask Dr. Steven Chamberlain to say a few words of welcome on behalf of l'École polytechnique Dr. Chamberlain is the Director of Academic and Service. Bonjour et bienvenue au Moodle Moot de la part de Polytechnique Montréal. A warm welcome to on behalf of Polytechnique Montréal for the edition of Moodle Moot Canada. Polytechnique est fier de contribuer à la présentation de cette conférence en collaboration avec l'Université de Montréal, qui est notre grande sœur. Notre grande sœur en termes d'âge, en termes de taille, notre petite sœur en termes d'âge, notre grande sœur en termes de taille. I would first like to mention that I'm not a Moodle specialist.
As a professor, I started
it as soon as it was available at Polytechnique in 2008. And now I'm a fan of Moodle. I'm sure that everybody in this room wants the best for our students, and Moodle allows not only to share content from class or online courses, but also a shared platform fostering collaboration between students and contribute to improve the student learning experience. We had the chance this morning to have Mr. Dougiamas present the first plenary session on the future of Moodle. Mr. Dougiamas will urgently develop Moodle as a vision of an open platform and evolving learning platform that meets the professional needs. Now Moodle is used in more than 200 countries. What is the future of Moodle? I'm sure that we will have the answer in the next hour. Thank you.
I would like to introduce Martin Dougiamas. It's very difficult to introduce Martin Dougiamas at the Moodle conference. Like someone told me, it's like to Freud to a psychoanalytic conference. I better say only a few words. Well, thank you for being with us, Martin. And well, I'll leave you the microphone.
Yeah. Thank you for the kind introductions. Why not? Oh no, that was too much. I can do the Elvis thing. Like this. Je suis désolé. So I won't be using it in French. I apologize. I really do appreciate a multilingual society, and it's really good to be here. And I'm very glad that the Canadian Moot has finally come to this part of Canada as well. Visit Montreal has been something I've said to a few people. I've been wanting to come here for 20 years probably. So it's nice to have the chance. I really want to thank the university for providing this venue and the Polytechnic and all the other sponsors for helping make it happen. So it's enough been said about that. Thanks to everybody. So here I am in Canada. Canada is one of the moots I always try to get to. I've been to every one. So special thanks to Francis Long, actually. Always gets me here. So it's been many years with Moodle, hasn't it? Why did I fly 33 hours to get here? There's quite a lot that I want to communicate with you to talk about Moodle, and some of it is just best done face to face. When we look at the internet these days, we have so much information. There's a blizzard of things. As you all know, as soon as you get on a touch screen these days, you get sucked in to streams of information, so much of it, and all flooded. But it's really worth, I think, to come together in a place like this and just have a chat. And I'm really enjoying this chance to talk with you. I hope over the next few days that you come and talk to me directly. I'm here to listen as much as talk to you about Moodle. But this morning, this is my time to kind of project some stuff. I could talk about Moodle releases. I could talk about Moodle 2.9 was the last release. As you know, probably if you've been in Moodle for a while, every release I have a picture of my children, and that was the most recent one. When Moodle started, I only had my daughter, and they've grown up with Moodle when they were babies in the beginning. So Moodle is a bit like my third child. It's grown up together, and that's why I still keep putting the kids' photos there, despite it probably not being so popular with everybody else, but I don't care. While I can do it, I'm still going to do it. The kids now make up their own photos. It's like every 6 months, it's their little project. I say, come on, kids, got to come up with a photo. They say, what's in the release? This one had mustache, so this was the photo we came up with. Moodle 2.9 had a lot of stuff, and I'm not even going to talk about it because there's a lot of information about the things that were in there. The next release is Moodle 3. Very quick summary of some of the things in there, but I'm not going to talk about them in detail either much. There is a lot of new quiz question types, there's easier section editing, there's improvements to tags, there's improvements to the editor, there's a lot of new web services, which helps things like the mobile app develop, and hundreds of smaller things. And these things all come from the community mostly. A lot of them we have taken, cleaned up and improved to put into core, but they're the result of the work of hundreds of people. But I want to talk about Moodle as a project. I want to talk about education. I want to talk about what we're trying to do. And one way that I really like to look at education these days is through the lens of feedback. The brain, as it's learning, all of our brains, we're interacting with the world. It can be looked at in 3 different ways. We're interacting with our environment. We're constantly holding things, touching things. The environment is affecting us. We are doing things in response to the environment. We're doing things with other people. We're talking, communicating. A lot of education focuses on that too. But also there's a process of reflection where you're interacting with yourself, and you have these feedback loops going on in all these cases where you are doing things, you're acting, the other thing is reacting back to you, and you're adjusting your behaviour and your learning. How does Moodle learn as my third child? It's kind of the same. Moodle develops through feedback with the environment. And in this case, the environment of Moodle is mostly the technical environment, the internet, the rapidly evolving devices. I mean, these things are going to look pretty old in about 5 years. You know, we'll probably, 10 years, 20 years, what are we going to have? Probably a chip in the head. You laugh, but I mean, maybe, right? What will it be in 50 years? What will it be in 100 years? The technology really is evolving very quickly. It's developing through feedback with people. We have developers, teachers, administrators, constantly giving feedback on Moodle, positive and negative feedback that helps Moodle, guides Moodle development. And there's also, for the reflective part, kind of testing. We have a lot of testing of Moodle, where Moodle is constantly tested against itself, against the environment and other things, but primarily against itself, just to make sure it's got integrity internally. So how does that affect how this project goes forward? Well, the thing with feedback is that feedback is only really effective for learning if you have some sort of a goal. Education doesn't make sense so much without a goal. You're usually trying to achieve something. You're trying to be good at a subject. You're trying to be the best sportsman in the world, or whatever it is you're trying to learn. the feedback you get is directed towards that goal. So the goal of Moodle, the mission of Moodle, is these 8 points. And it's always worth looking at them, and I'm sure we've seen this before, a lot of you. But it's a learning platform. So it's not a particular tool, it's a platform. It's like an operating system that can be adjusted to particular needs. It's primarily the first mission of Moodle is to support teachers with their teaching, because we love teachers. A lot of technology tries to replace teachers or ignore teachers. It tries to automate teaching. And that's valid for some cases, but I don't see the reason to do that. When we have 7 billion people on the earth, what are we going to do if we're all learning from computers? There's nothing wrong with learning from each other and being together. Supporting learners with their learning, of course, is a major goal. It's about integrating things for a course. It's about being open. And the beauty about openness is it allows privacy. When you have open software, you know where the data is. You know how the data is being treated because you can look at the source code and you can see. If you're storing your data in a black box somewhere on the internet, you don't really know. There may be terms and conditions, but you don't really know. And I notice you have a metro station called Snowden, which is very nice. Everyone can use Moodle easily for free. I mean, we all have devices. You shouldn't have to pay for, I mean, obviously you have to pay for a device. That's hard to avoid. But you shouldn't have to pay for the software to access your learning. Right? So apps, Moodle itself should be free. Of course, people's time is never free and shouldn't be, unless they volunteer it, but people need to be paid to do work. I mean, it's obvious. Software itself can be free. Moodle's about being flexible. It's about being able to scale. We have some very large Moodle sites with 2 million or more users on one Moodle site. And we have some very small Moodle sites which just have maybe 1 or 2 people. Homeschooling or other purposes. The last thing is that Moodle is, as a platform, allows people to contribute to global education. So they may not even be contributing to Moodle, but they may be, it allows you to contribute through things that you do on the Moodle platform to other people. So you may come up with a great idea, a way of using Moodle that spreads and people start using it that way. Or you may write some code, a plugin that gets used by other people and so on. It's far more interesting these days in this global world to know that when you do something, that it can go global. I mean, there's no reason for things not to be global these days. It's a small world. It takes 66 hours to go around it, but it's a small world. I'm exactly 12 hours away from home here. I'm right on exactly the other side of the world. So with this kind of mission, we've been working on Moodle a lot over the years. You may have come in at various points on here or before. Since Moodle 2, we've kept a very strict schedule of releases every 6 months, and we have a long-term support release, which was 2.7, which is still being supported. And the next one is going to be Moodle 3.1, which is next year. How many people here, just a very quick show of hands so I can get an idea, how many people here, their Moodle is on Moodle 2.9? Okay, it's about 50%. 2.8, that's probably the bulk of you, 50%. 2.7, yeah, about 20%. 2.6, 2.5, couple, earlier. Anybody on Moodle 1? Yep, there's always 1 or 2. Yeah, try and upgrade. This is the stairway to heaven. This is where you want to be going, because we're putting in a lot of work. and it's a shame to not see it being used. But one thing about this is that since Moodle 2, we've really tried to keep it regular, to keep it, the upgrades not too scary, to not break things, to try and be stable. And we try hard on that. So that's one reason why there's not been too many rapid changes, but there are others. Now, look, usually last year or before, I would really be talking about the roadmap. Now, what gives me the right to talk about the roadmap? I started Moodle. I run this Moodle company with the main developers, the core developers of Moodle. But it is a community project, and our roadmap is driven by the community to an extent, but we have decided that I used to talk about the roadmap. But what I want to talk to you about is how this should change and how we can do that. These are the sort of 5 main areas. I'm an idealist. I don't like talking about money. I wish it didn't exist. But there's no other way I can get developers to do what I want. In order to pay people, we need to have a model. This is our business model. It's what it's been since for 10 years. We have Moodle partners who do services for some of the Moodle community, and they pay about 10% of their revenue. All the money they get, 10% of it goes to Moodle HQ. And that currently pays for all of our developers. And that's how we work on Moodle Core. There are a lot of community developers out there, and many of you are here, who are paid by your university, your school. Maybe you have your own little business, or maybe you have your own big business. It's roughly 30% of what goes into core is actually written by outside developers. About 60% is what Moodle HQ does. Community developers also write a lot of plugins, and we have the plugins database with thousands of Moodle plugins now to extend Moodle's functionality, and that's the beauty of it being a platform that can happen, and that's really what we've really always tried to build. The M in Moodle means modular. So that's how things have worked for now. So those partners, there are 70 companies or so around the world. The 2 Canadian Moodle partners are Lambda Solutions and Open to Know, and we also have a US partner here as well, e-learning experts. Remote Learner are no longer Moodle partners. And but we have 70 companies and growing all around the world. They're all experts in the local area, the local language, the local education systems, and they help people with Moodle where necessary. And that's the core team that's funded by them. So that's a photo of us outside the office in Perth. There's about 2/3 of us are in Perth, and 1/3 are in other countries, which is why they're just little tacked on photos here that couldn't be in the picture. But we have a nice office there in Perth, and we have a good time there. The values of this place. This is the values of our company, and I try and instill this ad nauseum to people who work there. The first one's about learning, that we're all learning, and it's important to understand that no one's an expert ever, really. We're always improving, we're always learning. We always try and be open. We do everything publicly as much as we possibly can, on the tracker, out in the open. We have respect. We've got to respect the people who are using Moodle, the people who are contributing in any way towards Moodle. It's, as I said, a very global project, and we have
think you said 200 countries. It's pretty much every country, and it's a very sensitive place. So it's good to be respectful of everything. We try and be ethical. We try and be honest and fair. There's openness of Moodle is so important, but it just doesn't work any other way than operating ethically. And we encourage a culture of experimentation. So we have actual weeks set aside for developers where they're released from work, basically, to actually work on whatever they want and experiment and do crazy stuff. And that really is amazing that actually some of the most interesting things come out of that. What's interesting with our development is that in the beginning, it all used to be like that. It was just me at home, and there's a bunch of other people on the internet, and someone would say, hey, I'd like to work on that. And I go, that's a great idea. And they would do that, and we'd all just like, it was very flat. But over time, as we got bigger and bigger, we had to institute teams and processes and reviewing and quality assurance, and this machinery gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and it's soul destroying because it's not so fun anymore. Everybody realizes we have to do it, but it's just good to release people sometimes and go, look, just do what you want for a week. And so that's part of our culture. So what do? We do Moodle core development, we bug fixes, security, we integrate things from the community into the Moodle core. We do community education, we do a lot of videos, we do a lot of the Moodle documentation, we do Moodle MOOCs twice a year, we go to conferences, we run conferences, all this sorts of stuff. And sometimes we do new developments as well, not as much as I'd like. We have a Moodle mobile app. Is anybody here using the Moodle mobile app? We've got about mostly this side of the room for some reason, and it's probably about 25% of you. The Moodle mobile app is accelerating in development. It's getting quite usable. I will talk about it later. We run notification services. So when you are using the app, you can get a message from your Moodle site into this thing that has to go via Apple and Google. To get to Apple and Google, you have to kind of send that message. You have to sign up with them. So not everybody wants to sign up with them. So you can go through our server, which will send it to Apple and Google, which will then send it to the phones. So we run a service. It's another piece of open source software, actually, that we maintain. We also maintain all the community sites, and in all the languages, Moodle.org forums, Moodle docs, the tracker, Moodle.net, etc., etc., etc. So we're busy. We're doing all this stuff. It's necessary for an open source project to have this stuff done. Someone needs to do it. You can't rely on volunteers to do everything. You need to have people who are being paid, and it's their job to look after these things. But most of our time is spent on the maintenance. And you probably, if you go to the Moodle tracker or the forums, and you have an idea or a problem, and you probably feel your voice is very small, because there are so many people, and it's such a big machine. And you don't feel connected to the roadmap. You know, what I say doesn't matter. One vote on something, it's not going to matter. Even if you pay for your own developments, even if you develop a module, getting it into core is a very hard process. Our reviews and our machinery is very strict these days for quality purposes and for stability purposes, and so it can be difficult. All this means that, even though we all want Moodle to evolve faster and to be competing against everything else on the internet, so every LMS that's out there, all of the new things coming along, all of the Google apps and the Canvas Instructure and Schoology and Edmodo and all of those things, but also things like apps on these devices and all of the many possibilities. It'd be nice if Moodle as an open source community project was as good as anything else out there. It has to compete against hundreds of things, we all want it to. How do we make that happen? How do we let Moodle evolve faster? Well, what Moodle needs to be to evolve, to become the right tool, is actually, it needs to be the thing in between students and teachers. This slide is broken, I don't know why. It needs to be the thing between the techies and the teachers. It's the techies, you know, there's this often at university, you've got the technical people who are setting up and running Moodle, and you've got the teachers who are trying to get things done, and there's often this, I know, I'm not going to ask you to put your hands up, but you are all on one side or the other of this kind of thing, this dynamic, right? And Moodle's in the middle. It's this sort of malleable thing that can be twisted. Moodle is between devices and the servers. It's, you know, if someone's using a device to access Moodle and the Wi-Fi goes out, you know, Moodle could get the blame, right? If the server goes out, or a router goes out, or a disk crashes somewhere on the server, oh damn, Moodle's not working today. It's always Moodle that gets the blame, right? Because that's the thing you were trying to use. Moodle's between organisations and the community. So Moodle can represent the learning at a university like this, and then the outside community, when they see what that organisation's doing, you know, it's that Moodle site is where all the learning is taking place. And it's between developers and basically everything else. So Moodle's this thing in the middle, but it's often an impediment. It's often the thing that you're thinking about. So you're trying to talk to you're a teacher trying to talk to a techie, and there's Moodle sort of there. Where Moodle needs to be is basically invisible. It needs to actually not be the thing you think about. It needs to be so good at what it does that you don't think about it, and you just talk to the other person, right? You're just using it. Just like you don't really think about iOS very often on an Apple phone, or you don't think about Android, maybe you think about it a bit more on an Android phone. But, you know, there's quite a lot of software going on there, but you don't really think about it too often. It's just invisible. And Moodle kind of needs to be like that, really like an operating system. So to get there, to make Moodle so fluid that we don't think about it, we need a lot more major new developments in core. And we need developers who are really experienced to take the 2 million lines of code that we have and improve it to that extent. Not little fixes, we're talking quite, you know, major things. And to get there, we need organised feedback from users. Having 2 million people say, you know, we want this, it's a lot to process when that this can be thousands of different things. So we need, what I would love to see is not our developers trying to understand what the world needs from, say, the grade book, right? Because everybody has a different idea of grades and grade books. And my developers are not using grade books at all. And they're trying to understand all these things, and it's very difficult. What we would love to see is actually, here's a specification of what to build. Just build it, right? That's what we would really love. And we want direct investment from users. We want users to say, hey, look, build this for us, and you know, we'll pay you to do that. So how can we make that happen? I have a lot of options that I could go. I could try and go commercial. I have no interest in that. Not compatible with me or the project. I could try and change licenses. It would be very, very difficult. Some projects have tried to do that. I have zero interest in that. There is no interest at all. The GPL open source license is fixed. I could sell Moodle to a big company. I have no interest in that at all. Right? I've seen too many things die that way, or get taken over by interests that are not those of the community at the front. I will not even accept venture capital funding. People who are very rich and have a lot of money will give you money. And believe me, I get an email practically every day. And what they want back, of course, is profit. They want their profit back at a certain time. And to get that profit, they want to sell things to a large ed tech company or other. They want to take user data and exploit user data and use it for other purposes and so on. Right? This is how that industry works. I'm not interested in that. I don't want to get on that treadmill, and it's not good for the project. So we have to do things the hard way. So these are the things we are doing. We're launching a Moodle Association. We're launching official Moodle Moots, and we're launching Moodle Cloud. We launched it a bit earlier this year, so we'll talk a bit about those. I was talking with some of you might have been at the session yesterday, and actually in talking to people about the Moodle Association, I'm really understanding that it is actually hard to understand. So I hope I do a good job. If you have any questions, ask me about it, right? So I'm really keen for you to butt in anytime here. So the Moodle Association is a new organisation. It's a non-profit organisation that we are setting up, and we're going to release to the world and step back. It's a user association. It's obviously setting off alarm bells already. What this is about, it's about it's about Moodle users working together to directly decide the Moodle roadmap, or part of it, right? Not all of it, but their part of it. But what they will be working on, they know that it will get implemented in the Moodle roadmap, because they're actually paying for it to be developed. So the organisation will be owned by Moodle users. It's a full association. It's going to be in Australia, but it doesn't really matter. We'll have international members. It collects annual fees from membership. So a university or an organisation or individuals can join, you pay an annual membership. All those membership fees go into a central fund. Then the members work together to decide how to spend it on Moodle Core. So they decide what their development priorities are. They design those projects, and then they pay Moodle Core developers to actually build those things. So in a bit more detail how that works, there's sort of these 6-month cycles. There'll be 4 months of specification period where any member can say, I've got a good idea for a project, and propose the project. Just a short description. You know, I think Moodle should make me coffee in the mornings. They take responsibility for that project from then on. They don't have to lead it. But the whole association can take part now in discussing it, suggesting additions, fleshing out details, and by the end of the 4 months, they should have a long document that explains in detail the specification, including mock-ups of the interface, descriptions of use cases. It should think about things like accessibility. It should think about the usability. It should think about multiple languages, etc., etc., if necessary. So then there's a kind of a period of finalising these projects. Some projects may not be viable for whatever reason. There is a committee that the association has elected that kind of does this administrative work. And then everybody votes. And they vote on which projects should win for this particular cycle. The committee then allocates all those funds they have to those top voted projects. They employ us under contract. You know, we agree on the price, we do it, fixed price, and we deliver it. It's in the next Moodle release. Everybody gets it. And the association has a credit of producing that feature. So the memberships go from very small, Australian dollars, oh wow, my voice is suddenly going loud. Australian dollars are like Canadian dollars, almost exactly the same roughly. So the lowest membership an individual one is like 100, so it's not very much. And for an organisation, it can go up to 10,000. There's some levels in between. If you are an organisation, you can actually invite multiple people. So if you're at the top level institution, you may have 10 actual human beings representing your institution who are in the association and can take part in the activities. So the university might join, but you may allocate, some IT guys, developers, some pedagogy experts who want to just be involved and take part. We're looking for some key founding members to be on the initial committee. So this will launch at the end of this year, in January. January to June will be the first cycle, and we want to have a committee running at that point. And when we announce the committee, it would be very nice to say we have these sort of, good, well-known members that are supporting this. So if you're interested in that, info@moodleassociation.org is the place to go. If you want to know more about the details, go to moodleassociation.org. Any questions? Because there's probably a lot. Anybody got any questions about details of how this will work? Or concerns? No? The beauty of this is that it's a crowdfunding model that isn't purely like a Kickstarter type model. It's a crowdfunding model where the actual projects are decided by the people who are involved. They don't need to do development, although they can if they want. Like if a project already has some code because it came from something that a particular university developed for themselves at one point as a sort of a prototype, that's great. We'll take that, and it's less work for us to do to get it into core. The beauty of it is once that's done, it's in core. It's maintained forever, right? We'll be maintaining it from then on. So there's no ongoing costs afterwards. Unlike if you develop software for yourself, you have to then maintain it. Every time you upgrade Moodle, you have to maintain your own editions as well. And from my perspective, it's easier to manage the development because I know in advance what projects are coming. Like 6 months in advance, I know there's this amount of project work coming in, and so I can have staff ready to cope. And this will be extra staff to what we have now, extra developers. There'll be developers who are pretty much just committed to looking after the association work that comes in, and we will still do everything we do now. The Moodle partners are still paying for the developers to do all the core stuff, the community stuff, the bug fixes, the security, all those necessary things I pointed out before. This is extra to that. Yes?
Question, so what if the Moodle Association comes up with some feature that's just not realistic? Like, how would Moodle HQ sort of deal with that? Do you monitor it early on in the process and say, like, stop right there, you can give us $5 million, but we'll never be able to make you a cup of coffee?
That I have trust that people will not come up with those ideas. They will not be crazy because there'll be quite a lot of members. Even if there's hundreds of members only, which is a very small number, it'll be very difficult for them to all vote for the coffee machine. And look, if they all want the coffee machine, then we're going to find a way to make it work. Because that's what they want. I have faith that that will work. The process will work itself out. Every time I've had any kind of a collaborative thing like this, it's worked out. So we will be there at an early stage and maybe give advice and say, perhaps a virtual coffee machine would be a little easier. Or, you know, maybe we only work with coffee machines that have internet interfaces or something, right? But we might offer technical advice, but I really do not want to steer the process. I don't want us to be running this. Once it's set up and the committee is running it, we will have no involvement ourselves. It really will be a separate, non-profit organisation.
Martin, there was a question online about how did the Moodle partners react to the Moodle Association?
Mostly good. Some partners obviously see it as a bit of a, you know, it can be, any change is a bit scary. And the partners have been the ones who have 100% funded Moodle over the past many years. But it's clear that, as I said, we have sort of 35 people in the company. To make Moodle work and be what we all want it to be, we need a lot more activity, a lot more core development. And the current Moodle partner group is not large enough to fund that. So we need to add different things. And most partners now understand that it is a separate thing. It is really a separate thing, and it's additional. So, for example, a particular Moodle user obviously can download Moodle and run it themselves completely, right? You've got your own IT group, customize it how you want. A lot of you do this. You have your Moodle sites. Great. That's what open source is for. But some of you might say, we don't want to run the servers. We don't want to worry about the servers. We don't want to worry about training all the staff. And so that's when you go to a Moodle partner to get services. So you get hosting, you get training, you get support as necessary, and they exist for that purpose. It's not necessary, but it's there. This is more the development side of things. If you say, I really want Moodle itself, Moodle core, to have this extra functionality, you have two options. You can pay for it all yourself. You can, which, you know, $10,000 doesn't get you very many hours of developer time. To write a major change to Moodle core will cost quite a lot. But you can do it yourself, and then you can lobby and try and work with us to get it into core. It's a very long, involved process. Or, this is now the new option, if you put in a regular amount, sort of a guaranteed amount as a membership per year, you have some influence over some core developments, and you contribute, and you can help with the specification of those things, and you know they will get into core. It's another option. It's not for everybody, but I think a significant number of people will like this option. Last year, we asked people to donate money to us. We got basically nothing at all. And a lot of universities said to us, we can't donate money, we can't just write checks to things. We'd love to, but I just don't have that ability. Then they said to us, but we can subscribe to an association, or we can subscribe to a journal, or, you know, subscriptions are okay. We can justify that. And so that's where this came from. And it's been designed so that when they do that, when enough members get together this way, there is a well-defined process that will produce outcomes, guaranteed. So, yeah, so there's a question over there.
Can you talk about who can and can't be a member of the association?
Yeah. So one of the things was there is some concern that this might be seen as an alternative Moodle partner program. People might say, oh, I'm a member of the Moodle Association, I'll do Moodle support or whatever. Also, there was a concern that other interests might try and get involved and influence Moodle in a wrong way. So there might be, I don't know, another LMS might get involved or other things like that. So the only people who can't be members are companies that focus on education, on learning management system services. So actually Moodle partners can't join. Other LMSs can't join. And any company that's mostly focused on providing services or has a really strong commercial interest can't join. It's really for the users. That just kind of removes a lot of potential problems in the future. Yeah.
Can you go higher than $10,000?
You can pay $1 million if you want, but you still get the same votes as the 10,000 level. Right? So you're limited in your influence. But if you have $1 million, by all means donate it. It's a non-profit. You know, if Bill Gates wants to put a few $1 million in it, then the members will decide how to use those few $1 million effectively. So it's a fundraising vehicle for that too. Now, I don't like coming up and just talking about money, so any other questions? Yeah?
So the membership price is how much the vote counts to it? The present process, you go through the tracker and everything counts as a vote.
Yeah.
Here, if you pay more, your vote counts more.
Yeah, so it is, and remember the tracker it's not going to go away. It exists, it's not changed. It's still going to, there's no change there at all. Everything that happens there now will continue to happen. These things that happen in the association will most likely also be in the tracker. There will be people in the association who say, this thing in the tracker has been there for 3 years, let's do it now, right? And they're the ones who will make it happen. But yes, the way it works with the voting is if you're a member at $100, you get 100 points, 100 votes basically. If you're a member at 10,000, you get 10,000 votes. And every time there is an election, you can spread your points over whatever options you like. So unlike your national elections, I mean, it would be kind of nice, maybe, to say, look, I'd like to put 1/3 of my vote towards this party and 2/3 of my vote towards that party. You can't do that there, but you can do it here because you have a lot of projects. There may be 20 projects to choose from, and you can say, I'll put 1,000 points on this one, 3,000 on this one, whatever reflects your priorities as an organisation. At the end, they're just all added up. Yep.
I'm an end user, so I'm not a decision maker in the institution, and I'm not part of a Moodle partner.
Yeah.
I'm the teacher.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for me? For example, if I have an idea or something that I want to be put into my institution's Moodle,
yeah.
And let's say, for example, because of all the cutbacks here in Quebec, there is no way that my institution has $10,000 to pay to be a member. What does that mean for me?
You can continue to work through the tracker as now, and in the Moodle community as now, which is completely free. You can pay $100 a year and be in the association website. You can propose a project, and if people like it and vote for it, it will happen and be paid for.
But what I'm saying is that I don't decide what's in my Moodle. My institution does. And so if I contribute 100 to propose an idea,
yeah.
That doesn't guarantee that my institution is going to be able to.
$100 doesn't normally get you much in the world, no. But in this case, you can, if you propose a project and it gets done, it's guaranteed to go into Moodle Core, and when your institution upgrades to Moodle Core, the feature will be there. So it's not working on plugins or extra stuff, it's working on core changes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's a more guarantee than you would get for $100 in a lot of other places. Yeah.
Associations and they protect their members. And let's say I did a contract as a Moodle consultant, and they ask me to have a professional liability insurance against errors and professional misconduct. So let's say if I'm going to be paying for this association, are you going to protect me? And I could say that I am a Moodle member and I made a mistake or whatever, and I have this case. Can I come to you and say, can you protect me?
Protect you from who? No, that's not the role of the association. No, if you make a mistake, you have to have your own liability insurance. That's not the role of the association. It's really not about services at all. GPL software comes with no warranty. Inherently, it never has. So there's no warranty on the software. Of course, we're working our hardest to make it as stable and as good as we can. But no, we're not going to. I don't think we should be spending money for open source software on legal cases and other stuff like that. It's not efficient. So yeah, it's not that kind of. It's not a professional association. I think maybe that's what you're thinking of. It's not like that at all. It's definitely not. Yeah.
That sort of feeds into something I want to confirm that's in my mind. The membership in this association, my institution buys $1,000. What's that? 3 members? 4 or 5 members?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. So these 5 members, their role in the association is to propose changes, to participate in the discussion, and to distribute the votes of my association within the community. Yes?
That's right.
Excellent. Okay.
That's it. That's all. Yes.
I was also just thinking yesterday when we were talking about this, I was having a really hard time understanding how the smaller contributors could make a difference in this, right?
Yep.
And I just want to clarify, I think I'm understanding it. I wanted to clarify, which means, for example, like the teachers, when they say they don't have any influence over their institution. However, as an individual, you can go and get a $100 membership.
Yeah.
Have all the teachers that have these ideas, right?
Yes.
Amazing ideas can go in.
Everyone is the same. All the levels are the same in that way.
And yes. Propose their ideas, and then we can all go, oh, wow, why didn't you think of that? And then I'll vote for it.
Yeah.
So even though you're not paying a lot of money as an institution or a bunch of institutions, you can
convince us, and we'll vote with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go in for a small amount of money. Some can.
Sure.
Individuals that might not have control over their.
If you were all $100 members and you decide to vote one way, that's going to be a lot more than one institution.
So, but I just wanted to clarify that's kind of how it would work, right?
This is
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I hope you see it's a bit different. This is I don't see anything else, any other projects doing something quite like this. It's a very new idea. So I'm going to move on because I'm very conscious of the time. I think I've run out. So the second thing I see we're working on is these official Moodle Moots. We ran some Moodle Moots already this year. Some of the differences in the way we're running them as Moodle HQ, because we've never done that before, but they were pretty successful. We did the Australian one and the US one. A key part is we now have facilitated working sessions. So the first day of the Moots was whole day sessions where people sat down and tried to design some feature, actually work on a specification for a feature. This ties in very nicely with the association. You have a Moot, you meet face to face, you talk in your own language about some feature that Moodle should have. You go through all the discussion and the details and you work on it on a board. You end up with a sort of a specification which you then feed to the association. Like at this Moot, we all came up with this idea. Let's propose it to the association to get it funded and get it made. It's very cross-sector. We're trying to keep things across all sectors. We're trying to have fewer choices because I really hate missing sessions so much. And you might have noticed if you look on YouTube and the Moodle, YouTube/Moodle, you'll see we've got a lot of recordings. All the sessions are being recorded, and we're trying to make an online library so that you've always got interesting presentations from the community coming around the world. And we're trying to always encourage research and development. Oh, wow, I'm so behind now. This was the Australian Moot earlier this year. We had 512 people, 100 presentations. It was pretty good. These were the working groups. The first one was on course archiving and rollover, which is a big thing missing in Moodle, what you do at the end of the year. The second one was about assessment analytics. Just as a little indication of what the first one was about. Sorry, this is a joke. It's not cars archiving and rollover, it's course archiving and rollover. The number one thing people wanted out of that session was they all wanted some bulk course handling. They wanted to deal with hundreds of courses at once. Move them here, rename them here, empty them, archive them, just this sort of bulk course handling. These are all more details about the operation. The second thing was a course welcome wizard. So when you come to an empty course, something comes up and says, hey, welcome to the new year. You can restore your course from the last year's version or from a template or something like that. And the third one, this was really interesting, I think, was the concept of a freeze flag. So on any context in Moodle, site, course category, course, activity, you could say freeze it, and it makes it read-only. Right? It would be right? It's a very useful concept because you could immediately use it for all kinds of archiving, for past courses, for locking things. At the end of the year when the grades are finished, you want to lock that course, right? You just want to lock it up. Also, another idea similar was about freezing just the final grades. So even if Moodle is upgraded in the future, that the grades cannot be changed. Even if the calculation changes, it doesn't matter. The final grades are locked, etc., etc. So these are all the ideas, and that could form a spec, which would be eventually Moodle. So in short, this is the new financial model next year. The association is alongside the partners, and that we have a lot more community input this way through the specs. Very quickly, Moodle Cloud. We launched our own hosting. We now have a lot of sites. So we have free Moodle hosting on Moodle.com. So always the latest version, it's unlimited database, 50 users, 200 megabytes disk space. It's not very much. None of you are going to be running your university on this. But the key purpose of this is to help individual teachers who can't afford big Moodle hosting. They just want to run one class, or they just want to try Moodle. There's now a place to do it. And you can sign up and get a site within 5 seconds. It also includes a Big Blue Button integrated for free, thanks to our good friends at Big Blue Button. 6 users per session, and it's included for that. So that altogether makes a really nice package for nothing, for $0. On the downside, it does have, we had to put advertisements on some of the pages. So there was a lot of good feedback. It's too slow, come on. When this all came out. And some people complained about the ads. But if you just want to try Moodle, or you want to teach somebody Moodle, you just get a site there and do it now. This is the 4 top questions we ever got. Often people just, it's so easy to make a site, people would forget they made a site, they'd forget the name. We currently have about 11,000 Moodle sites now on Moodle Cloud that we've maintained. It's all running really smoothly. I'm really happy with all the technology. We had to build a lot of new technology to make this work. But I just wanted to say, we actually, because a lot of people said, can I take the ads out? There will soon be an option. You click the button and say remove ads, but it costs $5 a month.
No.
And to finish up, these are our big priorities at the moment. Until we get more direction from the association and elsewhere, this is what we're focused on right now, is usability and accessibility, #1. And that's on all platforms. And secondly, competency-based education. And there's a couple of people here in Montreal who are working with our guys on that, and I wanted to see you, make sure you find me. Good. We need in Moodle a solid competency-based education framework. The third thing is Moodle Mobile 2. This is a usability lab we had in Minnesota a few months ago, which is really useful. Usability and accessibility is very important. I can't go into details because of the time. If you're interested in competency-based education stuff, just do a search for find this page. But what the idea is to build core structures in Moodle to store what people know. For each user, what they know, what they don't know. That's the basic of it. The rest is interfaces and procedure and workflow. These core structures will be in Moodle, and then we can build on top of that as a community. And Moodle Mobile 2, it's looking pretty cool. don't know if you've seen it lately, but it's starting to really look like a proper system. It's evolving very rapidly. We're adding a lot of new modules, survey module, quiz, SCORM, forums now you can post, book, resources, etc. And so we have these 4 entities. I've run out of time. I spent too much time talking about the association, but I think it was important. This is the road we're all walking down together. I hope we continue walking together as a community, and I'm really, really happy that you're here, and I'm happy that you're using Moodle. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Martin. The next sessions will start immediately. You go to the 4th floor. You'll go by the coffee break place. Please don't stop. Go back at 10:30, and the exhibits will be open at 10:30.